channel. Let's talk about becoming a millionaire today, specifically becoming a millionaire with stocks. So, I hate to say this, but it's going to take a long time and it's going to take a lot of effort. $1 million is a lot of money, right? You can't get there without a long, consistent effort, right? Now, is it possible that you could hit the jackpot? Sure, but at that point, you are just gambling, you are not investing, and the portfolio is going to suffer because of that, right? You're going to take too big of risks. And let me show exactly what I mean by that, right? So, to just double your money in the stock market, you are going to need to work in a 5-year period, right? Just to double it in a 5-year period, you are going to need to earn a 14.87% return per year, right? Compounded consistently over that 5-year period. That will get you a double in 5 years, right? So if you're starting with a fairly small sum of money, say $10,000 or so, that is going to only, if you earn basically a 15% return, you're only going to get to $20,000 in 5 years. It's going to take a while, right? You say, oh well, that's fine. Let's just go for 10 years, right? And we'll try to 10x over 10 years. So instead of getting from 10,000 to a million, we're going to go 10,000 to 100,000. 10x in 10 years is going to take 25.89% per year compounded consistently. Guys, I want to point something out here. Peter Lynch, he was running for more than a decade, right? His compounded returns were less than that, right? They were, his annual compound return on the Fidelity Magellan Fund was like 23, maybe 24%. You'd have to be a better investor than Peter Lynch was to get a 10x in 10 years. All right. You are going to have to be very, very, very good. And even then, you're only going to make it 10% of the way to $1 million, right? So I don't want to say this to discourage you, right? Because there are two engines of growth when it comes to your stock market portfolio. The first engine is, of course, the returns that you're getting on your investments. That's very clear, very easy to see, right? I put money in, it earns money, and I profit, right? The other method is that you need to continuously put money into the market. And if you're continuously putting money in at a consistent, steady pace, you are going to get there much, much faster, right? And that's because you're fueling the growth of your portfolio by supplementing it with your income, right? So becoming a stock market millionaire, it's going to require a lot of consistency on your part. You're going to be putting money in whether the sun is shining or the clouds are out, right? Whether it's dark of night or during the day, you're just going to continuously and consistently put money into the market. There's no other way that you're going to get there, barring, some freak unrepeatable event, right? Which you could do, right? I'm not saying that that's impossible. You can do a lot of research and a lot of good stuff to get there, but at the end of the day, it's going to ultimately be fairly unrepeatable to do it in a short period of time. So, how do you get there? How do you get to the infamous millionaire status? Well, what I would say is that you need to extend your time horizon. That's thing number one. And I get it if you're a little bit older, time horizons are going to be shorter, right? You're just going to have to settle in those cases, I think, barring, you have really high income, you just don't have enough time to compound the money, right? What I target 15% per year on my portfolio. That's what I target. I don't even know if I'm going to get there, right? But I'm 35 years old, getting to 65, planning a retirement around there. If you have a 30-year time horizon and you want a 100x, going from $10,000 to $1 million, that's going to require a 16.6% rate of return on your investments for 30 years, right? It's going to take a lot to get there, right? That would put you in probably the top 1% of all investors ever to get a consistent 16% annualized return for 30 years. You would probably be, I am not even joking, you would probably be in the top 1% of investors worldwide if you manage to achieve that sort of a feat. But that will take $10,000 and turn it into $1 million, right? Which is great. 100%, I'm with you. Here's the thing. That 15% return that I'm getting, that I'm trying to get personally, I don't know if I'm going to get it or not, right? So I'm not making all my bets on just $10,000 getting to $1 million, right? I think that I've got a good shot with individual investments that I've made that total to about $10,000, thinking I'm going to get about 15% over a long period of time based off of my purchase prices, based off of the fundamentals of the company, all of that sort of stuff, right? Am I going to be wrong on some of these? Yes, I am going to be wrong. Which is fine, right? As an example, let's say that I'm half wrong, right? Instead of the 16% per year, I know I said 15, but go with it for a second. I'm going to get 8, right? If I'm off, my $10,000 investment doesn't 100x to $1 million, right? It only grows to 100,000. It's a 10x over a 30-year period. It's not great, right? I'm not getting to that millionaire status like that, right? It takes a long time. I'm only getting an 8% return. That's trailing the historical average of the market, right? Not doing super great. But I still managed to turn 10,000 to 100,000. If I'm half wrong on my $10,000 investment, that got me 10% of the way. So if you make $10,000 investments, I know that's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong here. But if you make $10,000 investments by the time you're 35 years old, you start when you're, early 20s, you go for 35 years, and you get 10 investments that grow at 8% annually, you're trailing the market, you will be a millionaire in 30 years, period, right? You will have made it to that illustrious 7-figure portfolio group. And so, great, you did it. You got a 7-figure portfolio, and it took about 30 years, but you got there, right? And that's without contributing another penny into the investment portfolio, right? You get $100,000 in there, you put it into 10 separate investments, each of those 10 investments make 8% a year. You are going to be a millionaire in 30 years. It's just math, right? And that's essentially trailing the market over a long period of time, right? You don't have to jump in, you don't have to jump out, you just buy investments that you think are good and you hold on to them. You will get to that millionaire status, period. It's math. You will get there. The thing that I want to point out here is that you can diversify pretty nicely with 10 investments, but you don't have to stop at 10, right? You get your $100,000 portfolio, and by the time you're 35, or you just extend your time horizon appropriately. If you're 45, you say, I'm going to get there by the time I'm 75. Fine, right? As long as you've got that $100,000 portfolio at that time, you will get there. You will get to that $1 million status. And then what I would do is I would keep adding to it, right? Every year, take, every time that you can, put money into the market, keep it cycling, keep it going, right? Because if you're right, and you get a 15% return over that 8% return, you're going to blow it out of the mark. You're going to blow it out of the park, right? You're just going to destroy the 7-figure goal over a 30-year period, right? You're going to get to a point where it's like, oh yeah, $1 million, that was 20 years ago, right? Matter of fact, I've done the calculations. Probably 8 years, 8, 9, 10 years, depending on how much money you're putting in, at 15%. That's a very real possibility, right? It kind of depends on how much money you're putting away every single year, right? I get that, right? But it's not like an unreasonable amount of money to put away to get it to happen in 10, 15 years. Very achievable, very, very much doable if you're targeting that 15% return and you get it, right? That's very, very reasonable. But the idea here is that you just need to continue putting money in every single month, right? Consistently, get there, right? And the thing is that if you make a couple of investments of $10,000 into company A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the odds of one of those outperforming shoots up dramatically, right? And so that's what I do. That's what I do personally. I go and I try to find companies that I think are undervalued, that I think will get me a 15% or so per year return, and I put some money into it. And then I wait, and I wait, and I wait, and I wait. And in the meantime, while I'm waiting, I'll put another $10,000 into another company, and I'll wait on that one. And I'll put another $10,000 into this company, and I'll wait, and I'll wait, and I'll wait. And it takes me a while, right, to save up $10,000, and not just, oh yeah, here's $10,000, right? Not just piling up cash until I get to that $10,000 mark. I'm deploying along the way, but I'll find companies that I believe in, that I think are going to do very, very well, and I'll throw some money into them. And I'll keep throwing money into them. And I keep throwing money into them. I believe they're undervalued, and I'm just going to keep deploying cash until they're not, right? And if you do that enough and you do that consistently, guaranteed, you will get to that 7-figure portfolio, and you'll be a millionaire long before then too, right? Because you probably have equity in your house, you'll probably have other assets, you'll probably have other things that you're doing, and you'll get there, right? But it's going to require a long and kind of tedious process to continually put money away into the stocks. Keep going and keep going. And the thing is that it becomes a snowball. It's going to grow. That's how compound interest works. That's how the rates of return in the stock market work. It's going to take some time, but that snowball is going to build, and it's going to go faster and faster and faster, right? It's just the nature of the beast. So that's all that I've got today. It's a very, very simple idea. The only other thing, and I'll make this my next video, is that you can actually enhance that with leverage, but it can work against you too. And so tomorrow what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about leverage. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about how to make that leverage work for you and how I actually use leverage in my stock portfolio, because it's a little bit different than just the standard buy it with debt and hold on to it. My method is slower, but it's safer. It's slower than that method. It's faster than just sitting on a cash account. So take that for what it's worth. If you want to hear that message, if you want to learn a little bit about that leverage, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You'll get it when I post it. All right, we'll talk to you later. And until next time, stay rational, my friends.